Hey guys, George of SoundTraxx here. This week we've talked about our Blunami quite a bit, and we've gotten a lot of questions about what about batteries. So today we're going to talk a little bit about battery-powered Blunami and what it can do for you. So let's get started. Now when it comes to Blunami, we have the ability to be able to power the decoder up with a traditional DC power pack. And then we're able to connect to the app on our phone or our tablet and talk wirelessly directly to the decoder. So therefore we do not need the DCC system. However, I do want to point out it is a DCC based decoder. So if you do have track power, you can run it on your DCC system just fine. Now today we have a lot more people that are looking at battery power. Battery technology is getting smaller and getting more durable, and the necessary parts to put in battery in a locomotive may outweigh the trickiness of wiring up your layout. And so when it comes to things like frogs, diamonds, especially when you're talking narrow gauge, when you're talking about dual gauge and turnouts with all those frogs and so forth, it can become a little bit of a wiring nightmare. But the good news is more and more people are turning to Blunami. Battery power is a very viable option. And so now with this locomotive here, I actually do have an onboard battery. Now this is an 11.1, I believe it's a 4-cell lithium ion battery, and it ranges at, like I said, 11.1 volts. Now on this particular one, there's no track power associated with it, so I have no alternative but the battery. But as you can see, this stand of track, we have no wires. So what I do have though is I have a magnet, and a magnet triggers a reed switch. There we go. Just have to roll the magnet in the right direction. But as you can see, the locomotive comes up to life. Now on my screen here, you can actually see now that I have connected to the RGS41, or detected the RGS41. I'm going to go ahead and connect to it now. And when I go over to standard, it's going to do its first power up, it's going to do its startup, and it's going to read all the CVs and match its settings, and then it blows the whistle to let you know it's done. Now we have full control on this, so then I can move in the forward direction. Just like that. And I have, again, we have no onboard, no track power, just a simple onboard battery. And this gives you full control of the Blunami just like you would on a DCC system. Now, some of the things we've actually got here, and you can see here in my side menu that I've actually got all the sounds and functions labeled out. But here on page 2, functions 15 through 28, you can actually see that I've renamed some of the functions here. So we have our white class lights, which illuminate the white class lights here on the front. And we can actually extinguish those, and then we can now turn on the green class lights. And you can see that here in the front. So you can go in and make all your adjustments, so you don't have to try to remember which functions turn on which effects when you're operating your locomotive. Now also all of the settings can be done in here through our settings app. So we can go in and we can check out all the sound settings, all the light settings, anything that you want to adjust and make. So also on this locomotive, you can see that we have a firebox flicker. So I've actually included an orange LED located down to show that firebox flicker glowing on the ground as the locomotive runs back. Now on that settings, I can set this light to be on all the time automatically, as you've seen in a video we've done here in the past, but now I can do it through the app, so I don't need to remember to turn on my firebox light. So this is just a short little glimpse of the things you can do with battery. Now, one of the other questions that's going to be is how would you wire it in? Well, we're going to go ahead and mute the locomotive for a moment. And when it comes to wiring in a battery, you have to have a way to charge the battery. And most people don't want to take their model apart in order to charge the battery. So in this particular case, we actually have the battery installed here in the tender, and I have my locomotive my Blunami decoder located up front. There's actually 2 wires that run from the tender to the locomotive, and then all my wiring is done in there, and my speakers are actually located up here in the smoke box. But in the tender, we have a charging port, and the charging port is actually hidden here inside the water tender hatch. So when I have my battery charger, I simply plug it in, and you do want to make sure you orient or you mark your polarity on that, because then otherwise if you put it backwards and try to charge the battery, you can cause a bigger problem. But we have our battery charger here. Now, as I've mentioned, I have the reed switch that allows me to turn on and off the battery. But what you can do is you can actually mount a small toggle switch or a slide switch somewhere underneath the frame that you can easily access. And what you're going to do is the three connections, you're going to have the 2 wires coming in the middle for the battery, and then you're going to have 2 wires going to the decoder, and then the other 2 wires going to your charging port. And if you want, you can have a center off, but what you can do is when it goes one way, you'll connect the battery wires to the decoder and power up the locomotive. The other way, you go from the battery to the charging port, bypassing the decoder, and then you can then charge the battery. When your charger's unplugged, then technically the battery is off. So this is how I would recommend doing a onboard battery installation. This particular one was actually done before I got this model by somebody else, one of our battery-powered onboard friends, retailers, Jeff at Old Iron Designs, and then we also have Pete at Dead Rail Installs out in California that can also do some work on batteries and talk to you more about batteries. But that work was done before I got it. I upgraded it to a Blunami and left all of his wiring and connections in the tender as it stands now. So what that did was that gave me the ability to open up my locomotive, do the work I wanted to do to it, install the Blunami, and left everything in the tender. So my on-off switch is a simple magnet, and then I have my charging port, as I mentioned, in the tender hatch. So guys, this has just been a quick look at the Blunami with onboard battery. Hopefully this has inspired you, but if you have any questions, give us an email, support@soundtraxx.com, or give us a call, and myself or Norman will be happy to help answer any questions we have. Now, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed already, why are you not subscribed? We put a lot of great content out here, and we wanted to make sure that you're enjoying your hobby absolutely the best with our products. So be sure to subscribe down below and click that notification bell so that you get notified every time we have new uploads. So that's it for now. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.